All right, in this special holder hangout, this guy has been covering the Washington franchise longer than I have. That's more than the 20 years that I've been here. He's awesome at what he does, one of the best in the business. John Keim of ESPN. John, we did hear the news that on Sunday they're going to be honoring Sean Taylor with a memorial, a statue. I can't believe it's been 15 years. You're the only other person that I know covering the team right now that was around when we were both covering that. I'm still a little numb. I still can't believe 15 years later that it actually happened. What are your thoughts still 15 years after?
It was a very surreal time.
Yeah.
Very surreal. And just what I remember is crowding around a phone the night before he died, listening to Vinny Serrato telling us that, or giving us an update on him, and you kind of left the facility that night thinking he might be okay.
Yeah.
And then whether it was just hope or whatever, then clearly took a turn. And I don't know, it took a turn. It was just, we know what happened. I remember waking up to a phone call to let me know, but you go to bed thinking, hey, you're thinking that maybe he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. And then you wake up to a phone call that tells you he was not. And I just remember coming in and seeing the red eyes on everybody, teammates, workers. Yeah. I mean, everybody had some sort of relationship with him. We had a relationship with him. It was different than everybody else.
Absolutely.
But I remember just kind of, you sometimes step back and like, I can't believe what is going on here, and just the numbness, and just I remember going in the locker room for the first time. I think it was a few days later, and you couldn't help but like look at his locker, and just how weird it felt, and and then after that how the team responded, but just the pain on a lot of guys' faces and all that. And the other thing I remember, Lou, is talking to some players who a couple years earlier would talk about how, like I'd ask them about Sean, they're like, I don't really know him. I don't really know him. And then a couple years later, I asked some of the same people, and they're like, no, I really got to know him, because over that time, Sean was a closed book until he trusted you.
Correct.
Then he'd open up.
All right.
And I think we were among the last two. We were still closed, which that's fine.
Yeah.
But I know coaches were closed too. Greg Williams would talk about that as well. So just a lot of memories. And I also remember talking to Greg Williams, and just one of the things I love to do is go back and watch the games. And I love to go back and watch how they used him, how he impacted games. I remember talking to Greg about that, and you kind of get a little bit choked up, just like when I remember just getting like that, saying like, I really liked watching him play. Yeah. And that's the thing. I remember even now, Lou, I still talk to guys or coaches from that team, and he comes up, because it's always like, you know where this was headed with him on the field. Yeah. And it was, for a lot of reasons, it's a big shame.
Right. One thing I do remember is one of those Joe Gibbs runs late. Sean was on the team, Clinton was on the team, Santana was on the team. They won in Arizona. They came home, I think, they won in St. Louis. They went to Arizona, and then they had this tremendous run with Sean there and Clinton there and Santana there. This team seems like it's going on a run. It's kind of weird and surreal that this is happening right in the middle of a run that this current team is going on.
Yeah, and I think sometimes one of the things that's been nice this year is to be around them more. The last 2 years we weren't around them, so you didn't really feel them, because you're talking to guys on Zoom. Even though we were out here last year, we're not in the locker room. You're not seeing them interact. You're not seeing, is this a loose team? Is this what? It was very much a professional, which is weird, but like it was just a different situation. You're on Zoom, or you're at a podium.
Yeah.
You're not really getting to know them. So you get to know them, and it's like you see the closeness that this team has.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that team had too. And I remember, the other thing. Here's the other similarity, Lou. In that year with Sean Taylor, after he died, they went on that run.
Yeah.
Part of the reason they went on that run.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason they went on that run was Todd Collins going in for Jason Campbell got
that's
hurt.
Right.
And it's almost it's akin to.
That's right.
It's not quite like.
Yeah, it's a good perspective.
But he was in that Al Saunders system
Yeah.
for a long
time.
He was. I would not say he certainly was not more talented than Jason Campbell. Jason had a nice long career, but he knew that offense, and Jason was learning that offense, and it was second nature for Todd, and the offense started moving well because of that. Then you look at Taylor Heineke, and he's been in the system for about 5 years or so. And
It's John Keim, man.
But I think like that familiarity has made a difference for this group too.
No. Thanks so much. I appreciate
Thanks,
you. I
man.
appreciate our friendship. Over 20 years.
Yeah,
This
very
guy's one of
good.
the best. Watch his stuff, read his stuff. John Keim.
good man here.
Simply one of the best. All right. Thanks a lot, buddy.